You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lines. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just because I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just because I laugh, as if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words. You can cut me with your lies. You can kill me with your hatefulness, but just like life, all right. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance? As if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling and bearing in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so,
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining as usual. I am your host today, Destiny Bell, with my wonderful co-host.
Hi, I'm Crystal, and thank you guys for joining us today for the Young and Bold segment.
And before we go on, we have to shout out Crystal because she had a birthday, and Crystal is one of our most hardworking people on the team. So make sure y'all spread some love for her. But today, because today's topic, we're talking about valuable, and she's one of the most valuable people on here. So we're not just talking monetary, because that's not the only thing that creates value in the world. It's the things within that, that makes people understand why you should stay in their lives or why they want you around. So before we invite our guests, Crystal, what do you think is a trait that you obtained that makes you valuable?
I think when you look at yourself as valuable to someone or just something, because a job in general, it's knowing who you are, believing in yourself that you can do whatever you put your mind to, and being reliable and being an asset to that person or job, just being there, being reliable, showing up. So that's when I feel like something adds value to, when someone adds value to something. So yeah, just showing up and being confident in who you are. So that's also what we're going to talk about. Not just knowing your value, but also knowing who you are, who God created you to be, living boldly in who you are without feeling judged or without thinking about what somebody else might think of you if you have something in your mind that you have your mindset, but then you change it because you realize like, oh, I don't want nobody to do this or say this. So yeah, we can just go ahead and go ahead, Destiny, before we bring on the guests.
Okay, so before we bring on the guests, I wanted to reference a scripture that I feel like resonates with the show. Philippians chapter 1, verse 6. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. From the beginning, God began a good work in you. When you're feeling worthless, discouraged, and defeated, rest in truth. Rest in this truth. You were created with a purpose to do good things for the Lord. He started to do good work in you before you even were born and has not stopped carrying on that good in you every single day of your life. You are good because you are God's. And I think that's a very good scripture because sometimes when you lose sight of who you are, you have to go back to your origin of like that safe space, and that higher power just gives like a sense of healing and confidence too. So
Yes, definitely. And I like that verse because like you said, because sometimes people, well, before we get into this conversation, let's bring on a guest because I want to hear her opinion and things like that. So let's bring on our special guest for today.
hey.
Hi, Kiana Ebony. So before we jump right into the conversation, we're going to go back to the verse. But before we jump into the conversation, can you let our viewers know who is Kiana Ebony? Give us a few things about yourself.
Okay, good morning, afternoon. I am Kiana Ebony. I'm a graduate of the illustrious Howard University.
Okay.
Yes, HU. I graduated with a BFA with a concentration in dance. So I've been dancing, teaching, choreographing pretty much my whole life, but that's what I do now full time, along with I'm the co-founder of an organization called Brilliance in Black, and what we do is promote the positive things happening in the Black community with an emphasis on Black entrepreneurs. And then I also am a published author. I wrote a coloring and activity book about Black dancers called ABC Dance Like Me. So,
Well, that's nice.
yeah.
Okay, that is amazing. I see you doing big things, doing some great things. So now let's go back to the Bible verse, Philippians 1:6, what Destiny read. So I feel like with this Bible verse, the first part, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. So all of this stuff that you said you do, Kiana, I feel like that exudes confidence because a lot of people might feel ashamed or less than somebody else that's already doing it. They be like, oh, I don't want to do this because somebody else is doing it or that's already been done. But when you think about it, having confidence in who you are and what you know you can do is something that we have to show the younger generation or show other people. Excuse me. So based on this Bible verse, Kiana, what is it that stands out to you, or how do you take this Bible verse?
So I love that verse. I wrote it down in my notes already because I think your value and your self-worth, we have to remember it is not in comparison to someone else. It's all about you, what God gave you. So it's not, oh, she did this already or he's doing this already. It's okay if God put it in you. If he placed the seed in you, then you're supposed to nurture it and you're supposed to grow it, no matter who else is doing the same thing. And it can be, that's not always easy. You know, you see somebody flourishing even in something that you are doing, but they're on their own path and you're on your own path. And no matter what the end goal is, you're gonna go there if you stay on your path. So that verse to me, I wrote it down because even with all that I do, there are still moments that it's like, dang, this is already being done. How, what makes me special? But you are special in your own self. So
Exactly.
it's really important for us to emphasize that your worth has nothing to do with someone else's worth or their value or what they're doing.
No,
I
I think so.
definitely agree. Go ahead, Destiny.
I was just about to say, I think she told me that because I needed to hear it. I definitely believe in divine timing. And
Yes.
I was thinking about my future with my brother last week. And I was like, but what am I doing wrong? Everybody else is doing this. This is such a competitive industry and da 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 da. And it was just like reassurance in the right timing, because you do have to be mindful that, yes, there might be people with similar dreams than you, similar goals, but you have to put your best foot forward and do what God has sent you to do. So I really do agree with that. But I do want to know what inspired you to do an ABC Dance Like Me, because that is so creative.
Thank you. So I've been dancing since I was 3 years old.
Okay.
And I've seen the dance world, the dance field, from many lenses, and I've seen it kind of transform. There's concert dance, and then you have TikTok dance. And right now, TikTok is like the big thing. But what I noticed with a lot of my students, because I teach in a lot of different studios and around the city, but a lot of them know the TikTok girls, who came up with this dance, but they don't know the Alvin Ailey's and the Lester Hortons, the people who are the founders of Black dance.
Mhm.
And I know when I was growing up, we had a notebook we had to write in dance class, like with notes. We used to go to these different dance master classes with some of the greats. And of course, now they're a little older, or, they've transitioned. So it's just very different for this generation. But I felt like they were missing something. I think it's so important to know our history, to know where we come from. So, you see a lot of dance moves and it's like, oh, such and such made this, but really this came from Horton technique, or this came from this technique, and so I thought it was really important to find a way to make history fun. Because I didn't like history growing up at all until I started learning. So Black history, thank you, Howard. I didn't really like history class, but I made that book because each page coincides, each letter coincides with a dancer, a Black dancer. But then on that coloring page, there's a short biography. So you're learning while you're also having fun just coloring. But I thought it was really important to make it a fun history lesson.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. I'm gonna have to get it.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. And then, like you said, having fun and learning, having fun makes you want to learn it. And then, like, how all these kids learn to, speaking on TikTok, how all the kids learn the TikTok dances because they feel like it's fun. So just how you learn in that TikTok dance is the same way you can learn the history. And I don't know if y'all know, like on some social media pages, they have teachers that that goes viral with changing the words to a popular R&B, a popular hip hop song or something like that. So all they do is change the words to the song to make it rhyme and fit with whatever they're teaching. And I feel like that makes it fun for the kid, because these hip hop songs, so just change the words, and then once you repeat it, recite it over in your head over and over and over again, then that's learning something that you didn't even realize you were learning, and it's stuck in your head, just like the song stuck in your head.
Right. And I think along with that, it's really important for us to realize that sometimes you have to pivot. So we, as children, we were writing down our notes and we were learning, but this generation is not learning that way. So we have to shift the way that we teach, because the way that we're learning is different. And I think that shift is also important when going back to like the scripture that you said. Sometimes, we get into that comparison because someone is doing what we're doing. But sometimes it's just a small shift, a small change that you have to make that makes yours way different than theirs, So that being able to pivot without, sometimes things just go wrong and you just have to switch the way that you're doing it. It's so important not to get discouraged and just make that pivot, because it can be small and make such a huge difference.
Exactly. I really like that point you made as far as pivoting, because when you look at people on social media, and let's say you on social media and you see somebody doing something that you want to do, like their path in life is to do that, but you have to pivot and do what's best for you. Don't try to mimic exactly what someone else is doing, because that's not going to work. What works for one person might not work for you. So you have to realize that, hey, I'm going to do this instead of this. Like, it's the same concept, but a different variation of whatever is happening.
Yeah.
So I do have a question for you guys, since we're on the topic of it all. What does knowing your value look like? And it doesn't have to be just in the workspace. It could be in like immediate friendships. Because I feel like the way you're tested the most is either family and friends. The workspace, I feel like you can train yourself to deal with certain things. But what does knowing your value look like in those type of scenarios?
That's a good question. I just stick with confidence. Just knowing that you have something, even if you haven't figured out what that something is. I think confidence is just the key to all things, because if you're walking in knowing that I don't know why I'm here today, I don't know why I have to do this job today, but I know that it's a greater purpose, then everything aligns. But when you go into things unsure, that's an energy, and other energies pick up on that unsure energy, and things happen. you have energy lurking, people that just suck it out of you, or whatever the case may be. So I think it's always important to say, confidence, self-confidence is what it looks like to me. Even if you don't, you just have to be confident even when you're unsure, which is not easy, but it's doable.
Yes, and it's necessary.
Your uncertainty sometimes is it's not that you're uncertain that you have something, it's you're uncertain of what that thing is. But just knowing that you have something. Sometimes you swipe your card knowing that you got something in your account, but you're uncertain of how much. You know what I'm saying? So like, just knowing like, I have something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's something that's going to add value to this moment, to this life, this,
What I think it is.
I was just going to speak on, just piggyback off of what Kiana said. For me, confidence speaks volumes, because being confident in knowing that I'm here and I'm here. So what's going to happen? It's just being, having that quality really gives the person or people that let's say you go into a job interview or something, and you have the confidence, and let's say you go to a job interview and you go in there unsure and shy and things like that. They're going to look at you like, oh, she can't even speak up for herself, or she can't even do this or do that. So you have to go in there, even if you know for a fact you might not have all of the qualifications that job is looking for. You have to go in there and make them know that you have value and what I can bring to the table. So it's just the whole confidence thing to me speaks volumes.
Yes.
Would you say, Destiny?
I was just gonna say, I think it can look like putting yourself in different environments that you're not accustomed to, like or surrounding yourself with different people. I have friends and even colleagues that have different like upbringings, and just some of their morals and the things that they know in life can educate me in a sense and can also help me build my confidence. Like I took an internship and I work with the Maryland General Assembly with the senator of my district. So I was very, very scared to take the opportunity because I was like, I don't know much about politics, but every day I'm going in there and learning things that will help me outside of my internship. So confidence does go with putting yourself in environments that you're not necessarily used to. Like being okay with being uncomfortable is showing one of your values, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I definitely agree.
I just posted because interviews, public speaking, anxiety. It's like I get anxious. I'm so nervous every time. But like facing that fear. Like I've been taking so many interviews this year, last year, just because you have to face the fear. So also, like you were saying, showing up in spaces that you are really, it might not be what you're used to, but facing that fear, because then you're going to grow that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing with confidence, a lot of people think that you're just confident, but like no, there is still fear in that. But I'm facing that fear, and that's where the confidence comes from. Like I'm getting through it. I got through that interview, so I can do the next one. So that's where the confidence comes from. It's not just always just in you. Like there are still things that you have to deal with and learn in trying to become confident. Some people feel like, oh, she's confident, I'm not confident. Like that's something that I don't have. No, that's something you can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. So I do have something I wanted to bring up as far as people who seek validation from family or friends or even social media. What would you say to someone that always be like, oh no, I can't do this because my mother said this or my sister
No.
or looking at. So what would you say to someone that has that mentality, like they need validation from someone just to do something? Or have you ever experienced anything where you felt like you needed validation, and what helped you overcome that need of validation from someone else?
I don't know.
Okay, so let me say, I'm a chime in while y'all thinking or whatever.
Okay.
But when I was younger, I felt as though I needed validation for everything I did because I wasn't confident in making my own decision, or I was always like, I don't want to say shy, but I was always concerned of what other people might say, or concerned that I might make the wrong decision and people will look at me like I'm crazy, or like my opinion or something doesn't matter. So yeah, when I was younger, I used to always seek validation because I felt as though my thoughts and opinions didn't matter. But now, since I've gotten older, been through college, and now I'm a parenting and all that stuff, it made me realize that I have value. Like my opinion matters. I don't need you to say, I don't need your opinion or advice on what I know I want to do. If I'm confident in something and I feel as though it's either going to work or it ain't, what else is going to happen?
Right.
So I had to overcome that mind frame of always wanting somebody else to say yes or do this for me because I wasn't confident in myself. And it's tough because it's tough.
I feel
And
like
social media, I'm sorry, Destiny, but real quick. But now, since social media, the influence of social media is so crazy right now with the younger generation, they feel like, oh, I gotta do this. And now with TikTok and Instagram and the reels and all that stuff where everybody is doing pranks on people. Every video you see is somebody doing a prank on somebody. Some of them are not funny at all. So it's like, let's think, look back to during the pandemic when everybody was doing the crate challenge. People breaking their neck trying to get likes and be seen, and to me that's crazy. So I feel like as us and we need to, let people know that seeking validation from even family, friends, social media is definitely not where it's at, because you are validated. God already validated you, so you don't need validation to be who you are, who God has called you to be. So go ahead, Destiny. I forgot who was talking, but I don't need to cut you off.
I feel like sometimes validation is like natural. It's just to what extent you go with it. Like sometimes I think people are placed in your life to provide that validation that you needed. Like example, like my brother with everything, I'm talking on my neck because I'm a critic of myself all the time. And he's like, what are you talking about? You did this. And it's like, okay, I needed that. But there's also times in my life where I don't need someone to be like, oh yeah, you should take this opportunity. It's just like you have to be able to give yourself good self-talk, but also have great people in your environment when you are feeling a little shaky and uneasy to maybe like reassure you that you're capable, or reassure you that maybe this isn't the best look for you publicly when you're trying to do this type of career. So I think it's like a case by case thing.
Yeah, I think it is. But when you said something about reassurance, of course, if you have that support system and your family has your back and they know that you are, doing something that is below your value or something, of course you will want them to step up. And it's you're not saying it as if, oh, I need their validation, but that's just the reassurance part come in regarding them, saying like, okay, you are better than this. What are you doing? Like, why are you going down this path when you know your value, you know your worth? That's where, your family come in and that support system and being that part for you. But for the validation part, especially on the whole social media thing, you should not look at somebody else's life and expect yours to be the same or yours to go down that same path. Because like I said before, God created you for you to be who He's created you to be, not to imitate or copy anybody else.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that 110%. That's the validation thing is not necessarily something that I struggled with, but being a dancer, specifically a Black dancer, that is a field of criticism. That's a field of comparison. That's a field of constantly feeling like you need that validation or reassurance. So it's really interesting because there have been moments in my career that, going back to that environment thing, like the environment that I was in just was not healthy because everything was a comparison. Oh, her leg is higher than yours. Oh, your turns are not as quick as hers, or whatever the case may be. And then you start to, when you're not in a healthy environment, then that's when you start seeking for validation. Oh, is this right? How does this look? When in reality, what you have is what you have. What you have is what you have. You just work with what you got and do the best that you can with what you have. So I think environment is a huge one. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's why I feel like your support system is pretty much should be your backbone.
Yeah.
And even if it's friends, like some people may have more support from their friends than their family. So it's like having that support system is always key, and then that boosts your confidence as well.
Yeah.
Because if you have that support, if you have somebody that's behind you and rooting for you and supporting you every step of the way, then that's going to push you to really be that person that they see. Because some people can see your potential before you even see it yourself.
Yep.
So that's another thing that helps people build their confidence and self-esteem. You know, if you have somebody in your family or one of your friends always saying, "Oh, why are you wearing that?" or "You need to go to the gym. You look so fat."
That's a hater. That's a hater. That's a hater. That's
But
a
that's
hater.
somebody that's killing your confidence and
Yeah.
self-esteem. You can walk out the house with your whole nice little outfit on, fresh tennis shoes, everything, and you confident. Like, when I leave out of here, oh, I know I'm going such and such. But then you see somebody down the street and they be like, "Ugh, why she got that tennis shoes on with that shirt?" That right there will kill your confidence. And it's like, I mean, you don't need their validation to know that, you know, you look good, but some people have a self-esteem balloon that's like high, but every time somebody throw a jab, like, "Oh, them shoes ugly," it slowly loses its air and continue to fall down. So you have to have that support system behind you to let you know, like, "Hey, we gonna keep that balloon up there. No, don't matter what anybody else say. They can think what they want to think, and if somebody judge you, that's on them."
Right.
I feel like some people project their insecurities on other people because they haven't dealt with the insecurity themselves. So that's another thing that just, you know, we can discuss. But I see that the time of the show is kind of dwindling down. So Destiny, did you have something else that you wanted to say?
Don't let anybody taint your confidence, family or friends related, because I've had numerous people tell me, you know, like, "Oh, I don't like your hair," and then I didn't ask. And don't be like me and get smart and then like show auntie why you can't talk to me like that. Be respectful and don't let it taint your confidence. Because at the end of the day, if you cut their hair, and you better wear it like you on America's Next Top Model. If you have a great extensive vocabulary and someone tries to tell you talk white, baby, show them that you're black and educated. Don't let anyone taint anything that God has given you. And that's my point on it.
Exactly. Definitely. Some great advice. So Kenya, do you have any advice or like you know, one last thing to say to our viewers?
Just know and remember that you are light. And don't let anything, anyone, any opinion dim your light. You are a light and you are where you are supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. So just remember to always shine through. Yeah, that's it. Be confident and know that you have something, whatever that thing is. And even if you're on a journey of figuring out what that thing is, just walk in knowing that you have something.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Yes. So we always end the show with Romans. Well, if for people that are watching, if you believe in God and you know you want him to be in your life, I think it's Romans 10:9. I can't remember it right off the head. Oh, there you go. Romans 10:9. If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Now, I think with this topic and saying that Bible verse right there, we need to realize that God is the only one that can validate anything that we have, and he's the one that we need to look up to and be with. So if you want to ask God into your heart to be saved, then you can do that. Just go to your local church or someone that you may know that can speak life into you. Life and death lies in the tongue. So if you believe in yourself that you are confident in who you are and who God made you to be, then You are unstoppable.
Mhm.
But yes, so that is our show today. And I do want to thank you so much, Kiana, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And share your
Not a problem
Instagram.
at all.
My Instagram is Kiana Ebony. Straight
And
out.
if you want to say a few more things about your business, the Brilliance in Black, then you can, speak about that and give us some information on how we can support, or if someone want to reach out.
Yes. So Brilliance in Black is the home. Our website is the home of a Black-owned business directory. So if you have a Black-owned business, drop your information on our website. We host events monthly to promote Black-owned businesses, highlight Black-owned businesses. Each year we do a festival of all Black-owned vendors. This year it's going to be a little more fancy. I'm excited. Yeah, so follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, everything, TikTok, all the things. Yeah, and we have Ladies Night this Friday. It's at the Pearl Empire on Eastern Avenue, and yeah.
So when you said the festival, so when is the festival, and like how can people participate?
The festival will be early fall, around September. We're still working out the exact date. But if you want to participate, if you go to our website, you can subscribe and you'll get all of our email notifications and updates. Or follow us on Instagram. All the updates are on there as well.
Okay, great. All right, Brilliance in Black. All right, thank you so much again for joining us. And I do want to thank you, viewers, for watching. You can catch me and Destiny on the Young and Bold segment every fourth Monday of each month. If there is a topic or conversation that you want us to discuss, then shoot us an email on elevationglobalmediagroup.com. And also, if you want to be a guest or know someone else that would be a great fit for the conversation, then, let us know. We love to hear from you. And we thank you guys again for joining, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Bye.